In a quiet little village surrounded by green hills and flower fields, there lived a kind-hearted girl named Cinderella. After her father passed away, her life changed completely. Her cruel stepmother and two selfish stepsisters treated her like a servant instead of family. Every morning before sunrise, Cinderella cleaned the giant house, washed clothes by hand, cooked meals, carried water, and scrubbed the cold stone floors until her hands hurt. While her stepsisters wore beautiful dresses and laughed at royal parties, Cinderella wore old torn clothes covered in ashes from the fireplace. "You belong with the dust," her stepmother would say cruelly. But no matter how badly they treated her, Cinderella remained gentle and kind. She secretly dreamed that one day her life would change. Every evening, she would sit beside the small attic window and stare at the shining royal castle far away on the hill. One day, exciting news spread across the kingdom. The king announced a grand royal ball where Prince Alexander would choose his future bride. The entire kingdom celebrated with excitement. Cinderella's stepsisters screamed with joy. "I'll become the princess," one shouted proudly. "No, the prince will choose me," yelled the other. 4 days, Cinderella helped sew their dresses, polish their shoes, and style their hair. Deep inside, she wished she could see the palace just once. Finally, she gathered enough courage to ask softly, "May I go too?" Her stepmother laughed loudly. "At the royal ball?" she mocked. "Look at yourself." The stepsisters burst into cruel laughter. "You'd scare the prince away," they joked. That night, Cinderella watched sadly as the carriage carried them toward the glowing castle. When the sound of the horses disappeared into the distance, she quietly sat in the garden and cried. "I just wanted one happy night," she whispered. Suddenly, a warm magical light filled the air. Tiny sparkling stars danced around the garden flowers. An elegant woman appeared before her, glowing softly in silver blue light. "Why are you crying, child?" the woman asked kindly. Cinderella looked up in shock. Who are you?" The woman smiled gently. "I am your fairy godmother." With a wave of her shining wand, magic burst across the garden. A pumpkin transformed into a magnificent golden carriage. Mice became elegant white horses. Cinderella's torn dress turned into a breathtaking silver gown covered in sparkling diamonds. Glass slippers appeared on her feet, shining like crystal under the moonlight. Cinderella could hardly believe her eyes. "You shall go to the ball," said the fairy godmother. "But remember, the magic ends at midnight." Cinderella nodded excitedly and climbed into the carriage. When she arrived at the royal palace, everyone stopped and stared. The grand ballroom fell completely silent. Prince Alexander looked across the room and froze. He had never seen anyone so beautiful. But it was not just her beauty. There was kindness in her eyes, warmth in her smile, gentleness in the way she spoke. The prince walked directly toward her while nobles whispered in shock. "Who is she? She looks like a princess." Even Cinderella's stepsisters could not recognize her. The prince asked for a dance. As they danced beneath the glowing chandeliers, Cinderella felt happier than she ever had in her entire life. For the first time, she felt seen. Not as a servant, not as someone worthless, but as someone special. Hours passed like minutes. Then suddenly, the clock began to strike midnight. Cinderella's eyes widened in fear. "I must go," she cried. She ran through the palace as the prince chased after her. But while rushing down the marble stairs, one of her glass slippers slipped off. Before the prince could reach her, Cinderella disappeared into the dark night as the magic faded away. The prince picked up the shining slipper carefully. "I will find her," he promised. The next morning, royal guards traveled across the kingdom searching for the mysterious girl whose foot fit the glass slipper. House after house, village after village, but no one matched. Finally, the guards arrived at Cinderella's home. Her stepsisters desperately tried to force their feet into the tiny slipper, but it would not fit. Then a quiet voice spoke from the corner. "May I try?" It was Cinderella. Her stepmother shouted angrily. "No, she's only a servant." But the prince himself stepped forward. "Let her try." Cinderella gently placed her foot into the glass slipper. It fit perfectly. The entire room gasped in shock. Then Cinderella reached into her pocket and revealed the second glass slipper. Prince Alexander smiled with tears in his eyes. "It was you all along." Her cruel stepfamily stood frozen with disbelief. The girl they treated like nothing was the very girl the prince had fallen in love with. Soon, Cinderella married Prince Alexander in a magnificent royal wedding attended by the entire kingdom. But even after becoming a princess, Cinderella never became proud or cruel. Instead, she used her kindness to help the poor, protect lonely children, and bring happiness to others. Because she never forgot how it felt to be treated like nothing. And that is why the kingdom loved her forever. Sparkles the end sparkles.